If you think that millennials and Gen Zers have the complete understanding of what's going on with cryptocurrency, think of these kids.
Oh, won't somebody please think of the children?
Think of the kids that are going to be 3, 5, 7, that when they're going to turn 18, that they're going to be thinking about money much more often. They're going to be thinking about savings. They're going to be thinking about how institutions are wrecked and wrecking them. And they're going to start to see these alternative financial systems build out in real time and going to start to come to fruition just when they come of age. It's an exciting time. It's an exciting time. Who knows what's going to happen? Buenas tardes, and welcome into episode, I think it's 11, of Chainspotting, where every week I read and review 2 of your top stories in Bitcoin, crypto, finance, money, all in the hefty-defty world of Humpty Dumpty and his financiers. Today, I'm going to ask you to subscribe. So right below my face, you can hit the subscribe button, give us a like, comment. Is this a great show? Is this a terrible show? Is this the kind of show that you wanted to tune into? Anything you want, just leave it there and then share it with your friends, family, fools, everybody far and wide. So, are you teched in? Because we're going to dive right into it. Today we're going to read and review an article by Bloomberg by Charlie Wells and Claire Ballantyne. This one is titled, Parents Ditch 529 Plans and Embrace Bitcoin for College Savings. Despite the risks and volatility, some families are investing in cryptocurrency to build wealth for their children. I immediately got hooked with this one. I saw it shared by a bunch of different people, both inside the finance community and outside, both critics, both advocates, enthusiasts, deniers, haters, naysayers, doomsayers, all of the above. And I just thought it was really interesting because it's come to make me think about how Bitcoin is becoming, it's nestling into even the most wildest plans that you could have imagined. Because for starters, you could think, okay, this is a spot in the millennials or Gen Xers or Gen Zers. But to think about parents thinking about Bitcoin for their kids is brilliant. And they kick it off in style. Bitcoin FOMO has come for family finances. Most parents typically worry about funding 529 college savings plans, brokerage accounts, or high-yield savings vehicles for their kids. Now, a subset are eschewing the old ways, pushing instead to pile up enough Bitcoin to help their children in the years ahead. Some say it's because stock gains aren't good enough. Others view it as reasonable diversification. Plenty are true believers, convinced that, despite a more than 500% gain since the depths of the last quote-unquote crypto winter, Bitcoin's climb has only just begun. The world's biggest cryptocurrency surpassed the 100,000 mark for the first time in December, having changed hands for less than 16,000 in November 2022. Still, these parents argue their children have a long enough time horizons to stomach Bitcoin's intense volatility. This is something that I've spoke about before. This is one of the most fundamental changes that I think Bitcoin has had with me, which is the idea of Bitcoin broadens your time horizon and extends it and makes you think about just the world in general, yourself, your relationships, work, all that sort of stuff in years and decades instead of days, hours, weeks, months. It really forces you to sort of rearrange the way that you interact with the world, that you start to build long-term, because like it says, you need to think in years or decades to be able to deal with Bitcoin's insane volatility. We're talking about minus 50%, sometimes minus 40%, minus 80%. I was reading actually just the other day, or yesterday, Charlie Munger, old famed stock investor, he said, you can't stomach life-changing gains without being able to deal with 50% drawdowns 2 to 3 times a century. And I was like, okay, boomers had it quite easy, I've got to admit, because we're having to deal with 2 to 3 50% drop downs sometimes in a year, sometimes in a month. So yeah, but I still find it interesting that parents are thinking about this in a super long time horizon, like decades. Take Jim Kreider, a 35-year-old father of 4 from San Antonio, Texas, who wants each of his kids to have one whole Bitcoin saved by the time they turn 18. So he wants them to be whole coiners. They are 1, 4, 5, and 7 years old. As a certified financial planner, he knows some consider putting all his children's savings in Bitcoin risky, but he believes the asset will reach 1 million in a decade. The opportunity is too good to pass up, he says. I think it's incredibly risky to have 0% exposure to Bitcoin, said Kreider. Pedro agrees. The launch of Bitcoin exchange-traded funds last year ushered a flood of new money and attention into Bitcoin after a series of crypto scandals pushed it out of favor. The asset's rally in the wake of President Donald Trump's election has underscored its comeback. The Orange Man pushing us back to all-time highs. Oh yeah. While few financial advisors would recommend going all in on crypto, putting a portion of a baby's portfolio into Bitcoin arguably aligns with certain aspects of standard financial wisdom. Investors with longer time horizons can afford to take on more risk, and a small amount of crypto could be part of a diversified strategy, said Ana Maria Luzardi, director of the Initiative for Financial Decision Making at Stanford. Still, she favors Roth IRAs for early investors because of their simplicity and tax-free growth. You know, if you never sell Bitcoin, you never get taxed. Stats. Or like a friend of mine says, facts and not printers. Oh, shout out Margaret for that one. Makes me laugh every time. College, this is impressive, actually. This is what's really grabbing my eye, how financial advisors, financial investors, are starting to, leave Bitcoin a space in every portfolio. And like I said, I agree with Jim. Not having exposure to Bitcoin is much riskier than to have a little bit of exposure to Bitcoin. You don't have to go all in. In fact, you shouldn't go all in. But having some is an idea. Not financial advice. Some parents are turning to crypto to supercharge their college savings. Here we go. This is a slippery slope. Returns on traditional stocks just won't cut it, the thinking goes. When the price tag for a single year at a top university is approaching a whopping $100,000. Travis Headley, a 43-year-old physician in Louisiana, first got into Bitcoin about 4 years ago and now converts his entire paycheck into the cryptocurrency. You go, boy. He decided to go all in with his kids' college funds as well. After about 10 years of saving via tax-advantaged 529 plans, he pulled the money out, took the tax penalty, and put it all into Bitcoin. I came to the conclusion that if I'm not doing it for my personal savings, why am I not doing it for my kids, he said. They have even longer to save money, so if this all does blow up, they'll have time to recover.
You don't just go out and play an LSU standard performance. Let's go play our game. It'll be a tremendous opportunity for our football team. This is a great team. It'll be a great challenge.
Leave me a comment on what you think of my absurd and ridiculous Louisiana accent. That's what I believe Louisianans sound like. So let me know if it's at all true. Professional soccer player Alex Crogney feels similarly. When his first child was born last year, the 30-year-old knew he wanted to help secure her financial future. But the past returns of traditional 529 accounts left him underwhelmed, and he views Bitcoin as a more flexible source of wealth. The math is pretty clear to me that following the herd and doing this 529 plan will not put my child in the most opportunistic position in the future, he said. Imagine that. Not following the herd will put your children or your child in a better position. Who would have thought? Family bonding. Chris Bobet in Nashville has been a crypto enthusiast for 8 years, and when his first child was born, he and his wife decided to write a kid's book to teach them about Bitcoin. The finished product, called Bitcoin for Kiddos, features illustrations of forest animals holding cartoon coins, as well as a glossary of terms. Bobet's kids, now 4 and 7, each have their own wallets. The 7-year-old asks each day what his Bitcoin is worth and wants to use his money from the Tooth Fairy to buy Bitcoin. Hashtag goals, motherfucker, goals. I do find it a bit daunting to have my kids ask or talk about the Bitcoin price every day. I'm not a big fan of that idea. I'm not a big fan of... I feel like I'm turned off by the idea that everybody knows the Bitcoin price all the time and that people are constantly talking about it. My sweet, saintly, charming, endearing mother does it a lot whenever it goes up or down in swift movements, not every day. Although I do think that she checks every day. She messages or something like that. She's actually my price alert. But still, I'm a bit reticent to that idea, especially when you're 7. But who am I? Philip Telebasa, owner of Benzina Wealth in Sarasota, isn't totally opposed to providing young children with some crypto exposure, but he still favors 529 plans because of the certainty of their tax benefits. Tax perks. In many states, I was wondering why we're going to get to all this tax perks and tax benefits, or when they graduate. Let's find out. In many states, investors in 529 plans get state income tax deductions, tax-deferred growth, and tax-free dispersals if the funds are eventually used on education. Interesting. No such benefits exist for crypto. Still, even crypto-skeptical parents may be unable to steer their kids away from the asset class. Bitcoin has become so mainstream that their kids may already be enthusiasts, fueled by the internet from their peers. Stephanie Stranko, a 33-year-old who works in media operations in Iowa, taught her 2 kids how to mint NFTs and hold them in their own MetaMask wallets, along with phantom wallets for their meme coins and accounts on Coinbase where they hold coins like Ethereum and Solana. Bloody shitcoiners, mate. Stranko said her kids, aged 10 and 13, know all the trends and can spot the niche coins that are growing popularity thanks to conversations with their friends. Meme coins. They can kind of choose what they're investing in at any point in time, but they'll run it by me, she said. Okay, we'll look at the charts together and we'll say, this is a good dip. Maybe this is something we're going to hold. We try to do it as a family unit. That's cute. I like that. Where they get together and they think to themselves, all right, should we gamble on this meme coin? Should we gamble on fart coin? Should we gamble on all that sort of stuff? This is fascinating, to be honest. And this is something that I'm sure you guys picked up on. These are mostly young kids or young parents. So 30, 35, 40, 45. I'm sure there's some in their 50s or something. But just remember, they don't, like, their kids are already coming maybe into college. So what's interesting is that young parents understand the value proposition of Bitcoin, understand that stocks, the portfolio 60-40 diversification might not be playing in their advantage anymore. They have to look for somewhere else for quote unquote outsized returns. And so where else do you go than Bitcoin? And yeah, like I said before, this plays perfectly into the idea that Bitcoin transforms your time horizon. It makes you think about these kind of stuff in longer term ways, years, decades, generations, for example, all that sort of stuff. Something that I do think about often is like storage and how they're storing it, whether it's cold wallets, whether they're holding their Bitcoin on exchanges, all that sort of stuff. That's a topic for another episode. But yeah, this is fascinating. What do you think? Like, do you have any kids? Are you putting any money into your kids' savings account in Bitcoin? Like I've said before, I don't have much Bitcoin, but a little bit that I do have some for my 2 nephews tucked away for when they reach 18. And when they reach 18, they can do whatever the fuck they want to with that Bitcoin. They can use it for saving or for a business. They can go to college. They can buy their sweet, sweet uncle something nice. They can go traveling, whatever they want, no strings attached. And I just find it, yeah, a nice gesture, not talking about me, well, kind of in this case. But I do think it's a nice gesture and something that more people could think about. But yeah, I think this is really interesting. I find it really fascinating how people are starting to think about crypto in a different way, new generations, giving it to their children, how their kids are going to come up with a completely different understanding of Bitcoin. Like if you think that millennials and Gen Zers have the complete understanding of what's going on with cryptocurrency, think of these kids. Think of the kids that are going to be 3, 5, 7, that when they're going to turn 18, that they're going to be thinking about money much more often. They're going to be thinking about savings. They're going to be thinking about how institutions are wrecked and wrecking them. And they're going to start to see these alternative financial systems build out in real time and going to start to come to fruition just when they come of age. It's an exciting time. It's an exciting time. Who knows what's going to happen? But yeah, the asset class is coming. The asset class is going to be here. The asset class is here. And the people who are investing in it and who are thinking about how to set up their children for better financial health into the future, they're going to be the big winners, or their children are going to be the big winners. Exciting times are upon us. What did you think? That's a wrap. Comments. Are you leaving anything for your children or your nephews? What did you think of my Louisiana accent? So you see all this? You see this? Tennis racket, books, all that sort of stuff. Right below, you've got a subscribe button. Hit the subscribe button. Right below, or maybe next to it, hit the like button. And then even below, comment. And an invitation, open invitation. Send me the articles that you found most interesting. On Twitter, I'm at El Pedro Solimano. You can find me there. Send me whatever you're reading, why you find it interesting. I'm happy to discuss it. I'm happy to read. I'm happy to review. Let's build up the chatter. Remember, you got to choose your own news, and I'll read you next week.